So Brasfield and Gorrie, a construction company, we're based out of Birmingham, Alabama. I work out of our Raleigh office. We have 13 offices across the Southeast. Our Raleigh office has a few different divisions. I work in our medical group, but we do basically everything but single family homes. And so I didn't want to kind of carry on about more so. Lauren is dropping a lot of stuff in the chat about what we do as Brasfield and Gorrie, but ultimately, my experience as a project manager has been the best way to do business and get work is to get to know people, and ultimately to build relationships that will lead to business opportunities, right? And so that's essentially why I work for Brasfield and Gorrie, and that's our purpose, and that's what we're all about. We are building exceptional people, trusting relationships, great projects, and strong communities. To me, is more than just some words on our website. Is something that I've seen all of my everyone that I've worked with embody, and so I definitely am privileged to have the support of a lot of people to make this happen. So today, I want to talk about our values, the safety, performance, integrity, respect, innovation, and teamwork, and how those play into just like a day-to-day job site, basically project success is what I will say. So I hope that I'm not, I don't know what the word is, but I don't know if I will have any technical tips for you. I think that today will be just an overarching best way to approach, building relationships, which will ultimately bring you more opportunities when it comes to working with Brasfield and Gorrie. So let's make sure this thing is.
1 second, Dexter. I'm sorry
Yes.
to interrupt. I do have to remind everyone that AI assisted technology is not allowed on a state associated webinar for the state of North Carolina. It's not allowed. So I'm going to ask you if you have enabled that, please remove it, or you may be kicked out of this meeting. So sorry. But you will be able to have access to a recording of this webinar. So you will be able to take a look in the future if you'd like to see it again. So please remove those. Thank you. Sorry, Dexter.
No problem. So again, that's just the foundation of this presentation today. Will be how B&G spirit values show up on our job sites, in our pre-construction process, in our project pursuits, and most importantly, from the beginning of it into a project, to make sure that these relationships are successful. So, the first thing when I think about safety, I personally, safety is the largest tenet of all of the work that we do. But when it comes to building a successful relationship and a lasting impression on the teams that you work with, a lot of things that I see when I'm working with contractors that have never done business with Brasfield and Gorrie, and I have several experiences at this point, is that we haven't maybe done a good job of what it looks like to understand the easiest way to get over the paperwork and into actually getting ready for the job. So sufficient insurance. I do have a sample insurance form that I can share with the group after, that kind of just lines out the levels of insurance that you need to do business with Brasfield and Gorrie. That would be, general liability, workers' compensation, umbrella, automotive liability, and then your declarations. A lot of times that becomes a holdup, I would say, and ultimately that is the first step to getting the contract out the door. Um, Company safety policies. That is another thing that is required by Brasfield and Gorrie to kind of get you started. And so it can look like a paper kind of pushing part of what we do, but I think that it's important to show like the preparation and thank you, Lauren, the preparation and the it instills the confidence in the project teams you will be working with that you are well prepared for these opportunities because ultimately this could be the first time you guys have worked together. And those questions are out there. And so as there are people that are advocating for, hey, we need to diversify our business, do business with newer companies, smaller companies, or just companies we haven't done business with. It is important that we're also prepared and showing that competence that we're ready for these along the way. Um, I think performance is extremely important because from pre-con to the job actually hitting the ground, there's a lot of planning that goes into place. And I think that I've seen a lot of projects where from the pre-con piece to actually getting out in the field and whoever's going to run this job day to day, that there's a disconnect. And I think it is important to encourage that there be like a seamless understanding of the scopes from pre-con to job building, because ensuring that the performance of the project from beginning to end is going to be successful is going to be a great way to, I mean, by the time the project is over, a project manager on a job could say, hey, I'm bringing you along for my next project. So performance is another one of our key values. Integrity is probably one of my favorite values that we hold at Brasfield and Gorrie. Quote by Brene Brown says that you choose courage over comfort, you choose right over what is fun, fast or easy. And then choosing to practice our values rather than simply saying them. So integrity looks like work ethic, leadership, which is leaving something behind for, the next set of subcontractors or vendors that come back behind so that these opportunities that we take advantage of are fruitful and that we can show that this is the best way to attack building and cultivating new relationships by just doing it and not having to kind of hop on that extremely strategic boat where there's a lot of red tape and there's not a lot getting done. I'm a firm believer on you just gotta kind of, not to offend anybody, but hop off on the water like Peter did and, keep walking. Um, this is a project planning example. This is something that I do on all of the projects that I work on. We call this key planning. Key planning is a part of a pool planning process that there's a lot of forethought that goes into what it's actually going to take to get each scope of work done in each area. It's a very thorough process, but it's also very successful. I only put this on here to go into the integrity and performance slides to just say, hey, it's important to show up to meetings, prepared to contribute, and to be a member of the team, which goes straight into respect. I think that respect, as a lot of people say, my mom would say that respect is earned and not given. And the only way to have diversity of thought is to have diversity in the room, and not just diversity in the, you know, spreadsheet of how many vendors and or contractors decided to sign up for the project or a number that just correlates with just the percentage of hub participation we had, but getting these diverse thoughts and diverse people to these meetings to contribute um, is how we build our foundations of opportunity, and it gives us an opportunity to advocate for each other. Uh, One of the first guys I worked with at Brasfield and Gorrie, I share a quick story with you. He said, people work with who they like. He told me there's no secret there. Um, and he said, people like who they can trust. And he was telling me this because I was one of not a lot of Black male project managers in the healthcare group at the time. And he was just emphasizing the importance of me being myself, because he was letting me know that people cannot like or trust you if you're not being you. And so I'm grateful that I have stayed true to myself, because that gives me opportunities like I have today to figure out and take the first steps of reaching back and building foundations of opportunity for anybody that, God gives me the opportunity to. Um, Innovation is important because people do business a lot of different ways, and people approach their problems a lot of different ways. And our projects, although, we have these robust processes and opportunities to, these robust processes and ways that we want to see things done. There's always a lot of different ways to skin a cat. And so just coming with the innovative mind to be a contributor to the project is always a great way to leave a lasting impression. And, don't be afraid to put your spin on things, so that people can see that you're really giving things 110% is something that I've always said. I've worked with, at this point, over my last 6 projects, I have brung along, um, I would say, just about all of my finished trades, which are MWBE, and also begin to just cultivate new relationships. Because ultimately, when you're working with trades that are doing a good job and giving you an opportunity to feel like you're making a difference, you continue to, add their capabilities, expose them to the opportunities that are there. And then teamwork. And then I just want to use the last 30 minutes just in case you guys have any questions. I don't want to just sit and present the whole time. Teamwork is just, to me, all about bringing solutions and not problems. There's going to be problems because this is construction. But I always just encourage people to sit with their problems long enough to bring a solution. And, we'll find out that you're bringing us a solution because there's a problem. But, please bring.
Does anybody have any questions so far? Let's see.
So I do not see anything in the chat so far, Lauren, but I will still
Okay.
I'm still monitoring just in case they do ask.
Okay.
Lauren, I don't know if they'll be covered, but I did have a question. Are there, and I know we're encouraging everyone to please go ahead and start your pre-qualification process with Brasfield. If you missed the last meeting, I'm not sure if the recording is available yet, but I'll get Derek to check into that for you, and we can actually send that out to you. They went a little bit more in detail about the pre-qualification process. But I do have a question about the part of the pre-qualification process as it relates to this safety and performance. And I guess my question would be really, are you working with the smaller subcontractors or smaller GCs to kind of help alleviate, kind of the painful part of the experience modification rates and requirements for workers' comp?
I believe our risk department helps and assists with anything they can. But if you have any questions or if you have any difficulties with that particular part of the pre-qualification, you can always reach out to me. We've had just experiences in the past where it's just a simple conversation, figuring and breaking down what needs to be provided. So yes, we work really close with our risk department and can handle any questions regarding that particular part of the pre-qual.
Okay. And so for some of you who may be online, it was mentioned last week also that it would be good. And the team, Brasfield team, is welcoming you to have a chat with them offline, so that you can talk one-on-one and find out, those very specific questions about pre-qualification that maybe you might not feel comfortable asking in an online presence. So be sure to, and I'm sure they'll put their information in the chat again, Lauren and Dexter. And be sure to reach out to them and ask those specific questions. Remember that this meeting is for you to meet them, number one, and learn about the ways that they can help assist you become a part of their team and their subcontractors or partner network. So make sure
Yes.
you take advantage of that and reach out to Lauren. She can direct you to whomever you need to be, whether it's their risk department or another pre-qualification specialist or outreach specialist. Either they'll be able to help you. And thank you, Dexter. Thank you. We realized that you had to drop off. Are you good now?
I am good. I
Okay,
don't know
very
what
good.
happened to my internet, but sorry
Very
about that.
good. Please speak up. Ask Dexter. I think when he dropped off, he was asking if there were any particular questions we want to address. I see a couple questions in the chat. This is what we're here for, and maybe your question will be something someone else needs to hear. So we can go ahead and get the conversation started. So it looks like Lauren has answered a couple of the questions. Then Mark, I think, let's see, who is responding to this?
I can read
Dexter
them off for you if
responded.
you want, Angela.
I have a
Okay.
question too, really fast. Lauren, how
Okay.
are we collecting this info in the chat about what these companies are? Because this is great information to know, but is there a formalized way for us
Are
to
you
collect?
speaking regarding to the insurance questions?
No, the like Mark with flooring and
Oh,
Terry with Final Clean Services. How are we documenting this
oh yes, I can.
information?
I'm just gonna reach out and send the pre-qualification form to them. What I was gonna say before you continue your presentation and we address questions. So normally how you there are several ways to get connected with us. It goes from starting with the pre-qual, making sure you're on building connected, and then if you are an MWBE supplier or subcontractor, it's equip. But particularly, which I believe is most of everyone, but if you even are not, you can reach out to me. I put my email in the chat and we can have a one-on-one, and I'll learn everything I need to know about your company, from average project size to what trade you guys do, and we'll figure out what is the best way to get connected and make sure you are equipped and ready with our pre-qual and signed up for Building Connected. So as far as like your questions about sending you the pre-qual, I will do that. But if you want to reach out to me via email too, you can do that as well.
Great. And Lauren, can you go ahead and put your email in the chat for
Yes.
anyone that wants to reach out to you directly?
I don't know if there's a way you can pin it, but I just put it in the chat again.
Yeah, I can pin it for you.
Okay, thank you. But I will make
Thank
sure
you.
I follow up with all of the email requests.
Thank you, Lauren. And thank you, Derek. can go ahead, Dexter.
No, well, that was the end of my presentation. I'm more interested in anybody that has questions, making sure they get an answer. We have Betty
So I do
Jones.
see Betty Jones has her hand up. If you would like to ask.
I'm sorry. Good morning, everyone. I'm late again. I had to have an appointment this morning, but I just wanted to know the emails, how to contact Lauren. And she, as she said, she's put the email, even though I can't see it right now. The email is out there, so I'll be able to find it and email her with some questions. Thank you.
And we'll follow up from our office with the email that has the contact information as well for you guys. Does anyone have any particular questions about safety, whether it's OSHA, whether it's anything safety related? Has anyone here ever had OSHA show up on their job site? Would you know what to do if they did? Anyone? Okay.
So we
No
have one
and no.
reply in
Well,
the
they
chat.
said
Yeah.
No and no. Dexter, if you want to chime in, just briefly. I know you can't do an OSHA training right now,
I can.
but just a quick just a quick.
Brasfield and
We'll be
Gorrie,
sure to maybe we can include some upgoing outreach around those titles. But just do know that why safety is important to the person you're partnering with, but it's also important to you as well, because you know, if you're on the job site and you're not being safe, it will affect those around you, and it could end up costing very hefty fines. And so you want to make sure that you are safe and compliant and understand these things before you're on the job, what the requirements are, and make sure at least one of your crew members is basically a master at it, like that they understand. And that may call for you to meet up with Dexter prior to your beginning that job, so that you both have a clear understanding of what your scope of work is and how that's to be carried out, because a lot of job sites have specific rules for what you can and can't do on their job sites. But
yeah.
I'll let Dexter chime in if you have
And I
anything further to
apologize
say.
for grazing over that. That's another thing. It's like, I think something that I know that I have experienced, and you will when we get the opportunity. Um, I did graze over it, but everything Brasfield and Gorrie does starts with safety. We invite OSHA to our job sites. I've been in, I've seen OSHA twice in my career, and they were scheduled OSHA inspections. We want them there. We want them to know that every time they see a Brasfield and Gorrie fence, the people there are safe, and we intend for them to make it home. And so, we have a we have site specific, project site specific safety, basically safety coordination meetings. And then to Angela's point about meeting with me, every single contractor on our job site has to have a site specific startup meeting prior to your trade starting, so that we all have an understanding of, hey, if you're in a boom lift, or if you have to work on a swing stage, or if you're flying prefabricated panels, or if you need a crane to set a piece of equipment, or what is allowed and what is not allowed, that will all be ironed out before you start working, because most importantly, a lot of our job when it comes to what we do in our safety department, how they support our projects, it is most important that we do our work safely. And I know back in the Empire State Building days, I learned that they used to estimate jobs based on the number of people that were the number of casualties they expected on the project
Oh,
was how projects used to be estimated. I'm very privileged to say, uh, we pray in all of our safety meetings. I've never been on a project where somebody has passed away or gotten severely hurt. I take pride in that. I don't know that I'll always be able to say it, but I know it's my mission for that to be my reality as long as humanly possible. And if there's a freak accident, there's nothing I can do about it. But we put measures in place to make sure things like that don't happen. And so,
Very good. Does anyone have any specific questions for Dexter about safety or the project manager relationship, or just Brasfield and Gorrie relationship in general? Is OSHA training required, Dexter? Or
no, we do have what is required is we have on-site safety training that happens before every single one of their workers can work on site. And so, even if a new crew mobilizes, every new person that comes to site has to go through. It's probably an hour. They happen at 7 in the morning, like 2 or 3 days a week. And it is site specific, basically Brasfield and Gorrie OSHA certified training by our safety managers all have OSHA 500 training. And so we mainly focus on, I don't know if I'm still sharing my screen, but this is probably one of the, uh, let's see if I can get back there really fast. Stuff that we call it sticky, stuff that can kill you. Is our focus is just to make sure that everybody understands, getting struck by being in confined spaces, electrical utility strikes is a big one that we have a great emphasis on with our digital dig boards. And we had a real problem about 3 years ago, I'll be completely honest, hitting a lot of utilities. And we spend a lot of money to do something about it. We've seen great improvements with our digital dig board processes, and using technology to our advantage to make sure that especially working in hospital environments, like you can't hit water lines, you can't hit gas lines. People's lives are at risk, not just the people doing the work, but people outside. Falls, excavations, falling objects, and cranes and rigging. These are things that we have very rigorous programs around building measures around people so that when accidents happen, there's a secondary measure, and then that's a very stringent policy on it getting to the secondary measure, whether that's overhead protection. If something falls off the side of the building and hits the overhead protection, great. Why did it, great, the overhead protection was there or Connex was there for people to walk through so people working above couldn't drop stuff off. But why is stuff falling off the side of the building? We're considering things like that all the time. So, I mean, that kind of makes me think I'm excited for us to get an opportunity to work together because I know that all of the all of the safety that you were experienced working with project managers and superintendents will possibly help you to, approach your relationships different with other projects that you're working on. And ultimately, people will come to appreciate how you approach your projects.
Yeah.
But it is the fastest way to get kicked off a job site. So I will say, please make sure that we call it your competent person is a competent person, because you will get kicked off a job site for putting your workers in danger. It's the fastest way to ruin a relationship, Brasfield and Gorrie, I would say. Just being honest.
Right. And you mentioned that competent person. Um, if any of you are newer firms, you will note that, typically on any job site, there will have to be at least one person, one competent person on site at all times.
Yes.
And that person is the person that is typically knowledgeable of all the site safety specific items and, emergency and those type things will have to be provided. Um, let's see what else. I can say if there are no more questions, we can give you guys back some of your time. So let me give you one more opportunity to ask any questions you might have about safety or your performance on a job site, or anything else. Myrna?
Um,
Thank you. My question was related to the last thing Miss Angela mentioned about competent person and newer firms. So please define competent person to me because newer firm is newer firm.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Do you want to do a Dexter?
Yes. I think that a competent person, in my opinion, it doesn't come with like a certification or a level of education. It comes with someone that can effectively communicate what is required. So your competent person is it's a contractual name, but this is the person that you're telling me I can call when something's a problem, and they will fix it and understand, the gravity of why they are the competent person. Um, Ultimately, that's your superintendent, that's your foreman, that's who is running your crews the day to day. That person is deemed the competent person. And I will say, when that person is deemed incompetent, you will be asked to provide a competent person because ultimately we need that line of communication to keep, people safe. So, I mean, it's not like a fancy term for this person has OSHA 300 training. It is just the person that you sent, and it could be you, it could be anyone. But this is the person that's going to sit in the safety meeting, say, I understand. I'm going to make sure all of my guys understand and adhere to the job specific safety and procedures.
Okay. What I heard was foreman or lead person on the construction site. But
Yes.
if I'm sending, but if I am a newer firm sending a hauler, a dump truck hauler, I heard Miss Angela say there needs to be a competent person on site all the time. That doesn't sound like my responsibility. Would you agree?
Well,
Or do I?
when I said a competent person at all time, if you have one person working, or if you're sending someone in that's hauling something away, and they will be on site for any amount of time, that person needs to understand the
That
safety.
person is the competent
Yeah,
person.
that person would need to be a competent person, meaning, he doesn't, it's not calling him an expert at everything else involved on construction site. It's agreeing that he is competent enough to go on that job site and be safe at doing so, and be able to communicate that with any other foreman, superintendent, project manager, anybody else that's on that site responsible for that project.
Awesome sauce. Makes sense to me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else?
I was going to add something. As we talk about continue building relationships with Brasfield and Gorrie and just in the construction industry, I did want to talk more about our EQUIP program. So Spirit is what we go by, as Dexter mentioned all throughout this call, and we take our spirit values very seriously as a construction firm. And one of the things that we also do and that I love, and I'm proud to say, we do continuous learning in terms of education, whether that be with safety, risk management, just anything regarding the construction industry or best practices. We like to teach and we like to learn from you all too. So we talked a lot about just being experts and being a competent person. A lot of that is we are knowledgeable, that we are an expert in as a general contractor, and we self-perform site work in concrete. However, when it comes to your trades, you are the experts on those trades, and we really do value your expertise and input and innovation when it comes to projects. And one of the ways we continue to build those relationships and learn more from you guys and you learn from us is our Equip program. So I'm just going to share my screen for seconds and talk about it. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So this is Equip. So as you're having more calls, the whole purpose of this Mentoring Monday call was to learn more about who we are as a company and a topic that Dexter is really passionate about, as well as a topic that we're really passionate about, but to start building a relationship with us, hopefully. So as you are, looking through our trades page and completing that pre-qual and signing up for Building Connected. If you're unfamiliar with Building Connected, it is a bidding platform. It is the only platform that Brasfield and Gorrie uses to send out invitations to bid. All of our projects are in invitation only. So if you are ever potentially interested in working with us, Building Connected is a platform you must be on. If you are a supplier in a second to third tier sub, sometimes that looks a little different, but feel free to reach out to myself and I can get you connected in the best way possible. But if you are like a main construction trade, you will most likely use Building Connected, and I will drop that link in the chat. But while you're doing that pre-qual and signing up for Building Connected, Equip bridges that gap to start building a relationship with us. And it is for MWBE small businesses. The two tabs I do want to talk about is the project opportunity tab. This is where you'll be able to see projects we have up that are ready to bid on. It is the same particular step for every state. We operate all over the Southeast, as we mentioned this call and on the last call, but it's fairly easy to use. But the main tab I want to talk about is the events and workshops tab. So we, as I said, continuously focus on education. We have several things throughout the year that help build that relationship and push education. So we have a couple of outreach events coming up, but the thing that I want to really push the most is our Equip workshops. So we host these workshops every other month over Zoom, where you have a chance to learn a new topic. We've already done safety and construction. So if you want to continue to learn more about that, you can go to the past workshops tab and hear more in depth and probably probably a little bit redundant information to what Dexter spoke on as well, but just from way different perspectives from our company about safety and construction and how we take that very seriously at Brasfield and Gorrie. But you learn a construction topic and then you go into breakout rooms and have a chance to network with one of our Southeast offices. So I want to just throw that out there. So if you're not a member of Equip, it is completely free. Please reach out to me an email, but I've also dropped the link in the chat. But it's a really good way for you to continue to get a similar experience as these Mentoring Mondays, as well as continue to build a relationship with us.
Very good. Thank you, Lauren, for that. So we don't have any more questions. I want to personally thank Dexter and Lauren. I can tell you guys that Brasfield and Gorrie, actually, Lauren actually was the one that reached out to us instead, saying, hey, what can we do to help advocate? And so we really appreciate you standing, by your word and your mottos. I know for sure that you guys are in the right space, in the right places, and that your hearts are where you are today. We appreciate you. We appreciate you sharing all the ins and outs of Brasfield and Gorrie. And thank you, Dexter. You said something that really stuck with me. Well, a lot of things stuck with me today, but your innovative thought is what really stuck with me. And I want to kind of not force that upon you guys today, but I want you to take that away as well. That you can make a contribution to the job sites that you're on when you show up with that innovative mindset. It is certainly a real impactful way, as Dexter said, that leaves a serious impact on that relationship that you're trying to build, and that very well may be what gets you that next job. So keep that in mind. Keep attending, um, you know, events that help develop your knowledge bank. Um, Always try to train yourself. There's always something new to learn, and take advantage of this opportunity to build this relationship with Brasfield and Gorrie. I think that what Lauren and Dexter both bring to the table can draw you and have you sitting at their table. So please, please, please reach out to them. I will email out to everyone the contact information so that you can reach out to them externally. Again, thank you all for attending today. It is always a pleasure to bring you um, good information that you can use and take and increase your access to opportunities for contracts.